Imagine a world where beauty and talent are only the opening chapters of an extraordinary saga. Enter Susan George, a dazzling presence in the cinematic universe whose journey transcends the glamour of Hollywood. This isn't just the story of a starlet rising to fame. It's a gripping tale of resilience in a world where lights and cameras mask battles against towering egos and relentless challenges. With every setback, Susan's unyielding strength rewrites the script of what it means to be a true icon. From the highs of stardom to the shadows of struggle, her life is a testament to perseverance, a narrative so compelling that it blurs the line between real and reality. Who is Susan George? Susan George is a retired English actress known for her work in film and television. She was born on July 26, 1950 in Surbiton, Surrey, England. Susan George began her acting career at a young age and gained recognition for her performances in various films and television shows. In her early years, she loved acting so much that she intentionally performed poorly on her 11+ exam during school, leading to her placement in a secondary modern school instead of a grammar school. This strategic choice was made to enable her to follow her childhood dream of attending drama school. Some of her notable works include appearances in The Dickie Henderson Show, 1962, as well as roles in television series like ITV Television Playhouse, Swallows and Amazons, and Weaver's Green. In the realm of cinema, she had small but significant roles in films such as The Sorcerers, 1967, and Up the Junction, 1968. Susan George's career spanned several decades, and she made a mark for herself as a talented actress. Beyond her professional life, she has been known for her holiday memories at a caravan park in Fontygarry, South Wales, reflecting a connection to both her career and personal life. Keep in mind that information about her life and career may have evolved beyond my last knowledge update in January 2022. Early career. Susan George's early acting career was a journey marked by determination, talent, and a series of pivotal moments that propelled her into the spotlight. Her first significant break came with an appearance in The Dickie Henderson Show in 1962. While this marked her initial foray into the world of entertainment, it was just the beginning of a promising career. The turning point arrived when Susan secured her first movie role. The film that marked her debut was The Sorcerers, released in 1967. This psychological science fiction horror film directed by Michael Reeves provided Susan with a platform to showcase her acting prowess on the big screen. For a young actress in the making, this opportunity was more than just a role. It was a stepping stone into the captivating world of cinema. Following her debut, Susan George continued to carve a niche for herself in the film industry. In 1968, she took on another notable role in the film Up the Junction. This drama, directed by Peter Collinson, allowed her to explore different facets of her acting abilities. The film's narrative and Susan's performance contributed to her growing reputation as a versatile and talented actress. As her career gained momentum, Susan George continued to grace the silver screen with a string of roles that showcased her versatility. Whether it was navigating through the psychological nuances of a character or bringing emotional depth to dramatic scenes, Susan became a sought-after talent in the industry. Susan's later years in Hollywood. In the latter phase of Susan George's illustrious career, she solidified her status as a talented and enchanting actress, leaving an enduring impact on global audiences. Transitioning from the defining roles of her early years, Susan embraced diverse and challenging characters that showcased her depth and versatility. Her later career was marked by a series of remarkable performances in noteworthy films. One standout moment came with her role in Straw Dogs 1971, a psychological thriller directed by Sam Peckinpah. Susan's portrayal in the film was both riveting and emotionally charged, earning her acclaim for her nuanced performance. But also, by this time, she had started to become a household name, and fame and fortune followed. Then, following the success of Straw Dogs, Susan George continued to captivate audiences in Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry, 1974, a high-octane action film directed by John Ho. Her presence on screen added a layer of sophistication to the genre, demonstrating her ability to elevate diverse cinematic narratives. There was no doubt as to whether or not she was a one-hit wonder. She was perfect for whatever role she was asked to play in, and she did her job to perfection. As Susan delved into the realm of drama, her role in Mandingo, 1975, directed by Richard Fleischer, showcased her versatility. The film, set against the backdrop of the antebellum South, allowed Susan to navigate complex themes with finesse, earning her recognition for the depth she brought to her character. Throughout her later career, Susan George's talent was not only acknowledged but celebrated. Critics and audiences alike praised her authenticity and emotional resonance, recognizing her as a performer who could seamlessly inhabit a wide array of roles. Simultaneously, her timeless beauty and innate charm continued to make her a joy to watch on screen. Collaborating with esteemed directors and fellow accomplished actors, Susan's filmography in the later years included Tomorrow Never Comes, 1978, and The House Where Evil Dwells, 1982, showcasing her enduring appeal. Beyond her acting abilities, Susan George became a cultural icon, celebrated for the indelible mark she left on the world of cinema, a legacy defined by talent, beauty, and the sheer pleasure she brought to audiences in each cinematic endeavor. Awards and recognitions. While she may not have clinched the golden statuettes of Hollywood's major awards, Susan George was well recognized regardless. One notable moment in the limelight came with the Evening Standard British Film Award in 1972. Susan George earned a nomination for Best Actress for her gripping performance in Straw Dogs. The film's controversial nature and her portrayal of Amy Sumner showcased her ability to immerse herself in challenging roles that left a lasting impression. In 1974, Susan George secured the Best Actress Award at the Brussels International Film Festival for her role in The Sorrows of Satan. This recognition underscored her international appeal and marked a triumph in the diverse landscape of her filmography. A nomination for the International Fantasy Film Award for Best Actress came Susan's way, acknowledging her contribution to the horror genre with Die Screaming Mary Ann in 1971. This recognition hinted at her versatility and willingness to delve into the fantastical and macabre. The British Academy of Film and Television Arts, BAFTA, acknowledged Susan George's talent with a nomination in 1972 for Straw Dogs. This nod from the prestigious British Film Awards ceremony highlighted the critical acclaim she received for her impactful performances. Across the pond, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association recognized Susan's potential, nominating her for the Golden Globe Award for Most Promising Newcomer, Female in 1971 for Straw Dogs. This nomination marked her as a rising star on the international cinematic stage. Intriguing personal life. In addition to her accomplishments in the entertainment industry, Susan shared a deep bond with animals, particularly championing animal welfare causes. Her commitment went beyond advocacy, extending to her active involvement in initiatives aimed at improving the lives of animals, reflecting a woman with a compassionate heart dedicated to making a positive impact. Not only a talented actress and philanthropist, Susan George is also an avid equestrian. Her passion for horses transcended mere appreciation. She actively breeds Arabian horses with a stud farm named Georgian Arabians. This facet of her life showcases a unique connection with nature and animals, demonstrating her commitment to nurturing and preserving the beauty of these majestic creatures. Susan's personal interests extended into the world of entrepreneurship. Her ventures in the fashion industry highlighted a creative side that complemented her artistic pursuits, showcasing a woman of versatility and entrepreneurial spirit. In her personal life, Susan George's relationships were integral to her journey. She shared a profound connection with British actor Simon McCorkindale, whom she married on October 5, 1984. Their union, lasting until his passing on October 14, 2010, marked a significant chapter in her life. Despite not having children, their partnership was a testament to enduring love and mutual support. Before her marriage to Simon, Susan's personal life included a 4-year relationship with American singer Jack Jones. Around 1980, she spent another 4 years as the partner of casino manager Derek Webster. These relationships, while not without their complexities, added layers to Susan's personal narrative, shaping the woman behind the actress. As Susan George navigated the complexities of both her personal and professional worlds, her life became a mosaic of experiences, from the warmth of family bonds to the excitement of romantic entanglements, from the quiet joys of horse breeding to the entrepreneurial spirit that fueled her creative pursuits. Her journey humanizes her beyond the cinematic spotlight. Susan George was a woman of substance, passion, and purpose. Kim Novak, with her enigmatic allure and undeniable talent, quickly ascended to the zenith of Tinseltown's elite, but beneath the surface of her seemingly perfect ascent lurked a scandal so potent it threatened to eclipse her shining star forever. It was the year 1957, a time when Hollywood's glamour masked a world of rigid studio control and unspoken secrets. Novak, fresh-faced and captivating, had become the darling of the silver screen, her every move watched and adored by millions. Yet, in the shadows of this glittering facade, a storm was brewing, a scandal that would shake the foundations of her burgeoning career. This wasn't just any scandal. It was a maelstrom that entangled the highest echelons of Hollywood's power players, a story that intertwined personal affairs with public outrage, testing the limits of the era's moral compass. As the scandal unfolded, it raised questions that went far beyond Novak's personal saga. It mirrored the very essence of a changing America, grappling with issues of privacy, morality, and the relentless glare of the public eye. In the heart of this storm stood Kim Novak, at once a victim and a fighter, her career hanging in the balance. This is the story of how one of Hollywood's brightest stars faced her darkest hour, a tale of intrigue, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of redemption in an industry known for both making and breaking dreams. The Enigma of Kim Novak. Kim Novak, born Marilyn Pauline Novak, was not just a Hollywood actress, she was an enigma that captivated a generation. Born on February 13, 1933, in Chicago, Illinois, Novak's journey to stardom was as unconventional as it was meteoric. Her early life was far removed from the glitz of Hollywood, growing up in a modest family of Czech descent. Novak's father was a history teacher, and her mother worked in a factory, instilling in her a strong work ethic and a sense of humility. Novak's foray into the world of glamour began almost by chance. While on a break from her studies at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, she took a job as a model for a local department store. This job would unknowingly set the stage for her entry into Hollywood. Her striking beauty and natural charisma caught the eye of a talent agent, leading to a screen test for Columbia Pictures. In 1954, Novak landed in Hollywood, a city where dreams were made and broken. Columbia Pictures, recognizing her potential, decided to mold her into their version of a movie star. They changed her name from Marilyn to Kim, fearing that her real name was too similar to that of Marilyn Monroe. This name change was symbolic of the transformation Novak would undergo in the hands of the studio system. Novak's early roles were small, but her presence was undeniable. She had a unique blend of vulnerability and strength that shone through on screen. Her breakthrough came with the film Picnic in 1955, where her performance garnered critical acclaim and catapulted her to stardom. She followed this success with a string of hits, including The Man with the Golden Arm and Pal Joey. However, Novak's rise to fame was not without its challenges. She constantly battled the studio's attempts to control her image and personal life. Novak wanted to be recognized for her talent, not just her looks. She fought for roles that challenged her as an actress, often clashing with studio heads who wanted to pigeonhole her into the role of a mere glamour icon. Despite these struggles, Novak's star continued to rise. She became known for her enigmatic presence, a quality that made her both alluring and mysterious. This mystique was part of her appeal, drawing audiences to theaters not just to see her perform, but to try and understand the woman behind the persona. As Novak's fame grew, so did the attention on her personal life. Her relationships and off-screen activities became fodder for the media, placing her under the relentless scrutiny of the public eye. It was in this intense spotlight that the scandal, which would become a defining moment in her career, began to unfold. Novak's meteoric rise. Kim Novak's ascent in Hollywood during the 1950s was nothing short of spectacular. After her breakthrough role in Picnic, she quickly became one of the most sought-after actresses in the industry. Her performances in Vertigo, directed by the legendary Alfred Hitchcock, and Bell, Book and Candle, alongside James Stewart, solidified her status as a leading lady and a symbol of Hollywood's golden age. Vertigo, released in 1958, is often cited as one of the greatest films ever made. Novak's portrayal of the mysterious and troubled Madeline Judy was a performance that showcased her depth and versatility as an actress. The film's exploration of obsession and identity resonated with Novak on a personal level, mirroring her own struggles with the Hollywood system's attempt to shape her identity. Off-screen, Novak's life was equally captivating. Her beauty and charisma led to high-profile relationships, including a rumored affair with Sammy Davis Jr., a relationship that was said to have caused controversy due to the racial tensions of the era. Novak, however, remained undeterred by the gossip and scandal, focusing instead on her craft and choosing roles that challenged the stereotypical image of a Hollywood starlet. Despite her success, Novak's relationship with Hollywood was complex. She was a star who shunned the typical Hollywood lifestyle, preferring to spend her time painting and engaging in other artistic pursuits. This detachment from the Hollywood scene added to her mystique and made her an even more intriguing figure to her fans and the media. Novak's rise to fame was not just a testament to her talent, but also to her determination to succeed on her own terms. She navigated the challenges of the studio system, which often typecast women and dictated their public and private lives, with a quiet strength and resilience. Her ability to maintain her individuality in an industry that often demanded conformity was a significant achievement. As her career progressed, Novak continued to take on diverse and challenging roles, refusing to be typecast or limited by the expectations of others. Her performances were marked by an emotional depth and a sense of authenticity that resonated with audiences. However, it was during this period of professional triumph that the scandal, which would become one of the most defining moments of her career, began to take shape. The controversy that erupted would test Novak's resilience and ultimately shape her legacy in Hollywood. The scandal erupts, a Hollywood crisis. The scandal that enveloped Kim Novak's career in the late 1950s was a convergence of personal and professional turmoil, magnified by the era's societal norms and the unforgiving nature of Hollywood's star-making machinery. At the heart of this scandal was Novak's relationship with Sammy Davis Jr., a talented and charismatic entertainer who, like Novak, was at the peak of his career. In an era marked by racial segregation and discrimination, the rumored relationship between Novak, a white actress, and Davis, an African-American entertainer, was more than just a tabloid sensation. It was a direct challenge to the deeply ingrained prejudices of the time. The relationship, which began as a mutual admiration for each other's talents, quickly evolved into something more, drawing the ire of both the public and the powers that be in Hollywood. The studio heads, particularly Harry Cohn of Columbia Pictures, were alarmed by the potential impact of this relationship on Novak's career and the studio's reputation. Cohn, known for his authoritarian control over his stars, reportedly went to great lengths to end the relationship, including threats and intimidation. The pressure exerted by the studio was immense, and it took a significant toll on both Novak and Davis. The media frenzy surrounding the relationship was relentless. Newspapers and magazines were filled with speculative stories, and the couple was hounded by paparazzi. The scandal was fueled by a society that was not ready to accept an interracial relationship, especially one involving two high-profile celebrities. For Novak, the scandal was a harsh intrusion into her personal life, a life she had tried to keep separate from her public persona. The scrutiny and judgment she faced were a stark reminder of the price of fame. The scandal also highlighted the darker side of Hollywood, where personal lives were often manipulated for the sake of public image and profit. Despite the turmoil, Novak remained defiant, refusing to let the studio dictate her personal life. Her stand against the studio's interference was a bold move, especially considering the power dynamics of Hollywood at the time. This defiance, however, came at a cost. The scandal began to overshadow her professional achievements, and her relationship with the studio became increasingly strained. The scandal surrounding Kim Novak and Sammy Davis Jr. was more than just a Hollywood controversy. It was a reflection of the societal tensions of the era. It exposed the racial prejudices and the moral hypocrisy of a society that was on the cusp of significant change. For Novak, it was a defining moment that tested her character and resilience, shaping her legacy in an industry that was all too willing to sacrifice personal happiness for public image. Behind the scenes, the industry's role. The scandal involving Kim Novak and Sammy Davis Jr. didn't just play out in the public eye, it was deeply influenced by the machinations of the Hollywood industry, particularly the studio system that dominated the era. This chapter delves into the role that Hollywood executives and the studio system played in both escalating and managing the scandal. During the 1950s, the studio system in Hollywood was at its zenith. Studios like Columbia Pictures, where Novak was under contract, wielded enormous power over their stars' careers and personal lives. Studio heads like Harry Cohn were notorious for their authoritarian control, often dictating not just the professional choices of their stars, but their personal ones as well. In Novak's case, her relationship with Sammy Davis Jr. was seen as a liability by the studio. At a time when racial segregation was still legal in parts of the United States, such a high-profile interracial relationship was considered damaging to Novak's public image and, by extension, to the studio's financial interests. The studio's response was swift and severe. Reports suggest that Harry Cohn, in particular, took extreme measures to end the relationship, including employing threats and engaging with organized crime figures to intimidate Davis. This intervention by the studio was not just about preserving Novak's image. It was indicative of the broader societal norms and prejudices of the time. The studio's actions reflected a deep-seated racism and a willingness to enforce these prejudices to maintain the status quo. The scandal thus became a battleground, with Novak and Davis's personal lives caught in the crossfire of a larger cultural and racial struggle. The media played a significant role in this saga as well. Tabloids and gossip columns, hungry for sensational stories, amplified the scandal, often ignoring the human cost to Novak and Davis. The relentless media scrutiny added another layer of pressure, making it increasingly difficult for Novak to navigate her professional and personal life. Behind the scenes, the scandal revealed the darker aspects of Hollywood's glamour. It showed how the industry, which often celebrated themes of love and freedom on screen, was in reality bound by conservative, racially biased, and moralistic attitudes. The studio's handling of the scandal was a stark reminder of the control they exerted over their stars and the lengths they would go to protect their investments, often at the expense of individual autonomy and happiness. For Novak, the scandal and the studio's response were a turning point. It forced her to confront the harsh realities of the industry and to reassess her place within it. The experience would leave a lasting impact on her career and her view of Hollywood, shaping her future choices both on and off the screen. Novak's response: fighting back. In the midst of the scandal that threatened to engulf her career, Kim Novak's response was one of resilience and defiance. This chapter explores how Novak navigated the tumultuous period, standing up against the studio system and societal norms that sought to dictate her personal life and professional choices. Faced with overwhelming pressure from Columbia Pictures and its head Harry Cohn to end her relationship with Sammy Davis Jr., Novak was put in an incredibly difficult position. The studio's interference was not just a matter of professional concern, it was a deeply personal intrusion. Yet Novak's response was not one of submission. Instead, she chose to stand her ground, a decision that was both brave and risky given the era and the power dynamics of Hollywood. Novak's defiance was a significant act of resistance against the controlling and often oppressive studio system. Her refusal to bow to the studio's demands was a statement of her autonomy as an individual, not just as a star under contract. This stance, however, came with consequences. It strained her relationship with Columbia Pictures and Harry Cohn, and it placed her career in jeopardy. Despite these challenges, Novak's response to the scandal also demonstrated her strength of character. She was unwilling to compromise her personal values for the sake of her career. This decision was particularly notable in an industry where many stars were forced to make significant personal sacrifices to maintain their public image and career trajectory. Moreover, Novak's response to the scandal was a reflection of the changing times. The late 1950s were a period of social and cultural transition, with the civil rights movement beginning to challenge the entrenched racial prejudices in American society. Novak's relationship with Davis and her stand against the studio's attempts to control it can be seen as part of this broader shift towards greater social and personal freedom. In the end, Novak's response to the scandal was a defining moment in her career. It showcased her as an individual with the courage to challenge the status quo both in her personal life and in the rigid structure of Hollywood. This chapter of her life not only impacted her career trajectory, but also contributed to her legacy as an actress who was not afraid to fight for her beliefs and stand up against the powerful forces of her industry. Public perception and media frenzy. The scandal involving Kim Novak and Sammy Davis Jr. was not just a private affair between two celebrities. It became a public spectacle, fueled by a media frenzy and shaped by the public's perception. This chapter delves into how the scandal was received by the public and the role of the media in shaping that perception. In the 1950s, Hollywood stars were not just actors, they were symbols of glamour, romance, and the American dream. Their public images were carefully crafted and fiercely protected by the studios. Novak, with her beauty and talent, had been built up as a dreamy, untouchable screen goddess. Her rumored relationship with Davis, therefore, was more than just gossip. It was a story that challenged the public's perception of her and the carefully constructed image of Hollywood. The media played a crucial role in this. Newspapers, magazines, and the burgeoning television industry were all abuzz with the story. The scandal was sensationalized, with speculative and often sensational stories dominating the headlines. This media coverage was not just about reporting on a celebrity relationship, it was a reflection of the societal attitudes of the time, particularly regarding race and relationships. The public's reaction to the scandal was mixed. While some admired Novak for her talent and saw the scandal as an invasion of her privacy, others were swayed by the racial prejudices of the era. The relationship was seen by many as controversial, not just because of the interracial aspect, but also because it defied the traditional norms and expectations of a Hollywood star. For Novak, the media frenzy and public scrutiny were overwhelming. The scandal, which had started as a personal matter, had spiraled into a public debate about race, morality, and the role of celebrities in society. It placed her under a microscope, with every move, every appearance, and every statement being dissected and discussed. The public perception of the scandal, as shaped by the media, had a significant impact on Novak's career. It overshadowed her professional achievements and became a defining aspect of her public image. The scandal also highlighted the power of the media in shaping public opinion and the vulnerability of celebrities to this power. The aftermath. career impact. The scandal involving Kim Novak and Sammy Davis Jr. had far-reaching implications, particularly for Novak's career in Hollywood. This chapter examines the aftermath of the scandal and how it impacted Novak's professional life in the years that followed. The immediate aftermath of the scandal was a period of turbulence for Novak. The intense media scrutiny and the controversy surrounding her relationship with Davis placed her under a spotlight that was more invasive than celebratory. The scandal, coupled with the studio's disapproval, led to a cooling of her relationship with Columbia Pictures. This strain with the studio, which had been instrumental in building her career, meant fewer leading roles and a noticeable shift in the trajectory of her career. Despite these challenges, Novak continued to work in Hollywood. She appeared in several films after the scandal, but the roles she was offered were different. They were often less prominent or less critically acclaimed than her earlier work. This change was partly due to the evolving nature of Hollywood and the decline of the studio system, but it was also a direct consequence of the scandal and its impact on her public image. The scandal also had a psychological impact on Novak. The invasion of her privacy and the judgment she faced took a toll on her. It led her to become more guarded and cautious about her public image and personal life. This shift was reflected in her choices and her approach to her career. She became more selective about her roles and increasingly sought to distance herself from the Hollywood limelight. In the long term, the scandal and its aftermath played a role in Novak's decision to step away from Hollywood. Tired of the constant scrutiny and the limitations imposed by the industry, she eventually chose to pursue a life away from the cameras. This decision was not just a retreat from the public eye, it was an assertion of her independence and a desire to seek fulfillment beyond the confines of Hollywood. The scandal, therefore, had a lasting impact on Novak's career. It marked a turning point, after which her relationship with Hollywood was forever changed. While it brought challenges and difficulties, it also led to a period of self-reflection and growth for Novak. In the end, the aftermath of the scandal was as much about Novak's resilience and her ability to adapt and find new paths as it was about the challenges she faced. Resilience and reinvention. Kim Novak's journey through the scandal and its aftermath is a story of resilience and reinvention. This chapter explores how Novak, faced with professional and personal challenges, reinvented herself and found new avenues of fulfillment beyond the glare of Hollywood. After the tumultuous period of the scandal, Novak demonstrated remarkable resilience. She did not allow the controversy and the challenges it posed to define her. Instead, she sought to redefine herself, both as an actress and as an individual. This period of her life was marked by a search for authenticity and a desire to break free from the constraints that Hollywood had imposed on her. This was Meg Miles, not a Marilyn, not a Hepburn, yet her talent promised a legacy just as enduring. So why, decades later, do the whispers of her name evoke a sense of mystery, a hint of what could have been? Why is the story of Meg Miles, a siren of the silver screen, not told alongside the greats of old Hollywood? What keeps the enigma of Meg Miles alive in the hearts of classic film aficionados? And what lessons does her story hold for the Hollywood we know today? The silver screen's hidden gem. In the tapestry of Hollywood's golden age, many stars have their names emblazoned in history, but some, like Meg Miles, remain etched faintly, awaiting rediscovery. Born on November 14, 1934, Miles entered an era of film that would witness the rise of Technicolor and the heyday of noir. Yet her introduction to the screen was as modest as her small-town roots. Meg Miles' journey into the world of glitz and glamour began in the 1950s. It was a decade marked by the Cold War and the sound of rock and roll, yet for Miles, it was the era of auditions, bit parts, and the relentless pursuit of a break that would make her a household name. Her early roles were often uncredited, but her determination was as palpable as the characters she played. By the 1960s, Miles had carved a niche for herself with her talents showcased in films like Coogan's Bluff in 1968, a crime thriller that starred Clint Eastwood and saw Miles in a supporting role that highlighted her versatility and charisma. It was during this period that her star seemed poised to rise, catching the attention of audiences and critics alike. Yet, despite her growing filmography, the leading roles remained elusive. Meg Miles's performances, while riveting, were often overshadowed by the era's leading ladies. Marilyn Monroe captivated with her blonde bombshell appeal, Audrey Hepburn enchanted with her elegant poise, and Elizabeth Taylor dazzled with her violet eyes and dramatic flair. Miles, with her distinctive look and evident talent, had all the makings of joining these ranks, but the spotlight shifted only fleetingly in her direction. The year 1971 brought Miles to a broader audience with The Anderson Tapes, where she starred alongside Sean Connery. The film, a heist thriller directed by Sidney Lumet, showcased Miles's ability to hold her own against some of the era's cinematic titans. Her performance was both nuanced and bold, yet it would become a mere footnote in an era rich with cinematic achievements. As the decades passed, the question lingered. Why did Hollywood's embrace of Meg Miles tighten and then relax before her talents could be fully recognized? She had the presence, the skill, and the tenacity that defined many of her contemporaries. Her name appeared on marquees. Her performances ranged from the comedically light to the dramatically intense, yet the roles that would solidify her stardom remained just out of reach. Meg Miles's career, while not headlining every tabloid or marquee, was nonetheless significant. She navigated the cutthroat Hollywood landscape with a grace that belied the challenges of the time, times defined by a transition from the stoic post-war sensibilities to the free-spirited zest of the 60s. Miles was there through it all, her performances capturing the shifts in American culture and cinema. Beyond the spotlight, Meg's mastery. While Meg Miles may not have become a marquee name, her mastery of the craft was evident to those who worked with her and those select few who became her ardent fans. In a career that spanned over a decade, Miles displayed a versatility that allowed her to slip into various characters with ease and depth. Despite the lack of leading roles, her performances in films such as Satan in High Heels 1962 showcased her ability to command a scene. In this film, she played a manipulative nightclub singer, a role that demanded a balance of sensuality and strength, which she delivered with a captivating presence. It's a performance that stands out for its fearlessness at a time when Hollywood was just beginning to push the boundaries of its conservative leanings. Her contemporaries, stars like Jane Mansfield and Mamie Van Doren, were celebrated for their bombshell personas, yet Miles brought a different kind of allure to the screen. She had the looks that could have easily landed her similar roles, but she sought out characters that offered more complexity, roles that required an emotional resonance, which she delivered time and again. The year 1964 marked a significant turn in her career with her role in Touched, a film that explored mental illness, a subject rarely touched upon in that era with any serious depth. Her portrayal was poignant, thoughtful, and far ahead of its time, reflecting a social awareness that her more famous peers seldom had the opportunity to express. A comparison to the likes of Kim Novak is inevitable. Novak, known for her role in Vertigo, was one of the defining actresses of the era, celebrated for her icy demeanor and vulnerability. Miles had a similar on-screen magnetism, but was never given a stage as grand as Novak's to showcase it. It wasn't just her acting that made Miles stand out. Her personal life, too, was marked by the kind of independence that defined the coming age in Hollywood. She was a woman who navigated a male-dominated industry with tenacity, not allowing herself to be typecast or sidelined. This strength off-screen translated into her roles, giving her performances an authenticity that her audience, though small, deeply appreciated. Moreover, Miles's career was marked by a consistency that many of her peers struggled to maintain. She worked steadily through the years, a testament to her professionalism and dedication to her craft. Her work ethic was reminiscent of actresses like Bette Davis, who was known for her determination and unwillingness to compromise her standards for the roles she chose. The lingering question remains, what might have been if Meg Miles had been given opportunities equal to her talent? Her roles in Counterplot, 1959, and Run Across the River, 1961, offered glimpses of a star potential that remained largely unfulfilled. Her ability to imbue even the smallest part with depth and realism was a skill that deserved greater recognition. As we reflect on Meg Miles's career, it is clear that her acting prowess was undeniable. The characters she brought to life may not have always been at the center of the plot, but her performances were invariably memorable, leaving an indelible mark on those who witnessed them. You know what else leaves a strong mark? You subscribing to our channel. It costs a second and helps us create more content for you to enjoy. The Whispered Controversies. Meg Miles's career was not without its share of whispered controversies and rumors that simmered below the surface, much like the characters she portrayed. While not as scandal-plagued as some stars, the murmurs surrounding Miles fed the enigmatic aura that would come to define her legacy. One persistent rumor that followed Miles was her supposed connections with the era's leading men. Her beauty and talent led to speculation about off-screen romances, a common narrative spun by studio publicity machines that could make or break a career. The truth of these matters was often obscured by the studio's desire to craft a saleable image, leaving the public to wonder about the real stories behind the tabloid headlines. Another less-known controversy was Miles's outspoken nature in an industry that often demanded silence from its stars, especially women. She was rumored to have turned down roles that she felt were demeaning or typecasting, a move that was bold for its time and potentially detrimental to her career. This defiance against the norm was echoed in the roles she chose, from strong-willed women to complex, unconventional characters that challenged the submissive stereotypes of the time. The competition for roles among actresses was fierce, and rumors abounded that Miles's forthrightness might have led to her being quietly blacklisted from certain projects. This speculation was fueled by her sudden and unexplained absence from major film roles during what could have been the peak of her career, leading some to believe that there was more to the story than met the public eye. In an era where image was everything, Miles's refusal to conform to the expected Hollywood persona could have been a double-edged sword. It earned her respect among her peers, but might have cost her the stardom that her talent warranted. The industry was changing, but not quickly enough for women who dared to step outside the lines drawn by studio executives. These rumors and controversies, though never dominating the headlines like the exploits of more notorious stars, nonetheless contributed to the mystique that surrounded Miles. They painted a picture of an actress who was perhaps ahead of her time, one who might have flourished in a later era of film where the outspokenness and independence she exhibited were more widely embraced. Meg Miles's story is reminiscent of other actresses of the time who faced similar challenges. The likes of Veronica Lake and Hedy Lamarr come to mind, both of whom battled the studio system in their own ways, with their careers suffering as a result. Miles, like them, appears to have been caught in the crossfire of a changing industry and the rigid expectations of a starlet. The true extent of these controversies may never be fully known, but they add a layer of depth to the enigma that is Meg Miles. Her talent was undeniable, but the path to enduring fame is often about more than just talent. It's a path littered with the casualties of rumor and speculation, a path that Meg Miles walked with dignity and poise. Shadows and Light, Miles's Influence. Meg Miles may not be a name that instantly recalls a litany of blockbuster titles or Oscar nominations, yet her influence in the industry during her active years, and the subtle but indelible mark she left, merits recognition. It's the early 1960s. Hollywood is in the throes of the studio system's decline, and the rise of new Hollywood is on the horizon. In this transformative period, Meg Miles stood as a figure of both continuity and change. Her performances in films like Satan in High Heels became a testament to her ability to navigate the evolving landscape of female roles in cinema. In this chapter of Hollywood's history, Miles's influence is not marked by the kind of seismic shifts instigated by some of her peers, but rather by the quiet persistence of her craft. She wasn't the star causing ripples with public scandals or groundbreaking performances, but her steady work ethic and her nuanced portrayals provided a blueprint for the emerging breed of actresses who sought to be recognized for their acting prowess rather than their tabloid value. Miles's approach to her roles demonstrated a commitment to depth and complexity at a time when women were often relegated to one-dimensional characters. While the likes of Marilyn Monroe and Elizabeth Taylor were seizing headlines, Miles was diligently honing her craft, possibly influencing her fellow performers to seek out roles that challenged both the actress and the audience. Though there may be few direct testimonials or quotes from film historians that specifically cite Miles's influence, the environment she contributed to helped pave the way for more nuanced female roles and the actresses who would inhabit them. Her professional journey is a microcosm of the experiences of many women in Hollywood during that era, facing the pressures of typecasting, battling for substantial roles, and navigating an industry that was often less than welcoming to the ambitions of a serious actress. Romance in the limelight, Meg Miles' hidden love life. The love life of Meg Miles, much like her career, was a blend of public perception and private reality, a delicate dance in the limelight that offered only fleeting glimpses into her personal world. While Miles' on-screen performances were subject to the gaze of audiences worldwide, her romantic relationships remained largely shielded from the public eye. In an industry where romantic liaisons often became as much a part of an actor's brand as their performances, Miles maintained a distinct separation between her personal affairs and her professional life. This discretion was a notable departure from the Hollywood norm, where studio-managed relationships and highly publicized marriages were the order of the day. Yet, within the inner circles of Hollywood's elite, Miles's love life was not without its own stories. It was an era when leading men and women were paired both on-screen and off, and rumors of flings and affairs were as common as the films themselves. For Meg Miles, the whispers were there, but she managed to keep the details of her romantic life out of the press, a testament to her desire for privacy in a world that thrived on exposure. The few relationships that did surface in the tabloids were often laced with speculation, ties to co-stars, connections with influential figures in the industry, and the occasional mention of a mystery suitor, all of which added to the enigma of Miles. Yet none of these rumored romances ever solidified into the kind of public courtship that defined the love lives of some of her contemporaries. While other stars of the era, such as Elizabeth Taylor and Debbie Reynolds, saw their love lives become almost as famous as their film roles, Miles's approach was markedly different. She was not seen on the arm of industry moguls at premieres, nor did she make headlines with tumultuous breakups or whirlwind romances. This discretion likely contributed to her being underrated, as she did not engage in the personal publicity that often propelled actors to stardom. Despite this, it is known that Miles married twice. Her first marriage was to actor John Michaels, which, like many Hollywood marriages, ended in divorce. Her second marriage was to radio and television personality Sid Noel, known for his alter ego as the horror host Morgus the Magnificent. This marriage, while it lasted, remained a private affair with little to no details finding their way into the public domain. The lack of sensationalism in Miles's love life speaks volumes about her priorities. It suggests an individual who sought to cultivate her relationships away from the cameras, valuing the sanctity of her personal experiences over potential publicity. This choice, while perhaps costing her some measure of fame, allowed her to navigate her personal journey on her own terms. In an era defined by the merging of personal and public personas, Meg Miles's decision to keep her love life out of the spotlight is a poignant reflection of her character. It is a choice that speaks to a deeper understanding of the fleeting nature of Hollywood romance and the enduring value of private life amid public spectacle. Meg Miles's Twilight years. As the golden hues of Hollywood's heyday began to dim, so too did the frequency of Meg Miles's appearances on the silver screen. Her last known film role was in the 1971 Sidney Lumet-directed The Anderson Tapes, where she starred opposite Sean Connery. This film, a heist narrative set in New York City, allowed Miles to once again exhibit her range and depth as an actress. However, following this performance, her presence in the cinematic world became more sporadic. The reasons behind Miles's retreat from Hollywood are as nuanced as her career. By the 1970s, the film industry was undergoing seismic shifts. New Hollywood was in full swing, and the types of roles and stories being told were changing. It was a period marked by the emergence of director-driven films and a new generation of actors. For Miles, whose career had been built during the studio system's zenith, this represented both a challenge and an opportunity to reassess her path. What is known about her post-Hollywood career is that Miles did not vanish into obscurity, but rather chose to step away from the limelight. She turned her attention to personal interests, and in many ways began to craft a life that was as rich off-screen as it had been on it. She embraced a more private existence, one that allowed her to enjoy the fruits of her work without the constant glare of the public eye. Miles's last public appearances are a testament to the affection and respect she garnered throughout her career. She was often seen at film festivals and classic Hollywood events, where she was celebrated not just for her work but for her contributions to an era of film that continues to captivate audiences. The final years of Meg Miles' life remained largely out of the public eye, with only occasional glimpses into her world through interviews or retrospectives that highlighted her earlier work. These rare insights painted a picture of a woman content with her life choices, one who looked back at her career with a mixture of pride and wistfulness. Her legacy, while not encapsulated by a prolific output or a storied personal life splashed across the headlines, is preserved in the celluloid frames of her films and the memories of those who worked with her. In the twilight of her career and life, Miles' impact remained etched in the minds of cinema enthusiasts who recognized her contributions to the art form. The allure of Meg Miles' story lies not just in the roles she played, but in the grace with which she transitioned from a public figure to a private individual, ensuring that her final act was on her own terms. Her departure from the industry was not marked by scandal or tragedy, but by a quiet dignity that many of her peers found elusive. In exploring the last years of Meg Miles' life, we find a narrative that contrasts sharply with the tumult often associated with Hollywood endings. It is a story that adds yet another layer to the complex tapestry of her life, one that speaks to the personal victories away from the cameras and the enduring allure of an actress who left the stage with the same elegance with which she entered it. A star's signature role, Satan in High Heels and Legacy. Meg Miles' career is a mix of varied roles and performances, but it is her lead role in the 1962 film Satan in High Heels that stands out as her signature work. In this film, she played Stacey Kane, a cunning and ambitious nightclub singer who manipulates men to climb the social ladder. Her portrayal of Kane was both powerful and provocative, earning her acclaim for her commanding screen presence and complex character work. Satan in High Heels became a cult classic, not just for its daring plot and stylish execution, but also for Miles's unforgettable performance. The film, with its themes of seduction, power, and ambition, became emblematic of a time when Hollywood was beginning to push the boundaries of its own storytelling norms. Miles's role as Stacey Kane became a symbol of a woman taking control of her destiny, an image that resonated with the evolving sensibilities of the early 60s audience. This role captured the essence of Miles's talent, her ability to bring depth to a character that could easily have been a one-dimensional femme fatale. It showcased her range and her willingness to take on challenging parts that offered something more than the traditional roles allotted to women at the time. Satan in High Heels stood as a testament to her skill and became the centerpiece of her cinematic legacy. As Miles stepped away from the spotlight and her public appearances became less frequent, the appreciation for her work in Satan in High Heels only grew. The film's enduring popularity ensured that Miles would be remembered and celebrated in the annals of cult cinema. It served as a beacon for her fans and a reminder of her prowess as an actress capable of capturing the complexities of the human spirit. The enduring allure of Meg Miles. In the annals of Hollywood history, Meg Miles's name may not be as widely recognized as some of her contemporaries, but her legacy is no less significant. Through her dedication to her craft and her ability to leave a lasting impression even in less prominent roles, she carved out a place for herself in the collective memory of classic film aficionados. Miles's journey through Hollywood was marked by the poise and dignity with which she approached her career. Satan in High Heels remains her most celebrated performance, a film that continues to garner admiration for its bold narrative and Miles's powerful portrayal of a woman ahead of her time. The legacy of Meg Miles is one of quiet impact. She may not have been the brightest star in Hollywood's firmament, but her light continues to shine for those who appreciate the subtleties of her performances and the strength of her presence. In the shifting sands of fame, Miles's work stands as a monument to an actress who was as much a pioneer as she was a performer, whose contributions to the art of cinema are worthy of recognition and remembrance. She was one of the queens of classic Hollywood and received several awards and nominations during her peak. Known for her incredible talent and ageless beauty and grace, Cybill Shepherd has made quite a name for herself. But behind the dazzling smile and the star-studded career lies a secret, a truth she's kept hidden from the flashing lights of the cameras and the prying eyes of the public. What could a celebrity of her stature possibly want to keep under wraps? The answer lies in a series of events, choices, and moments that paint a picture very different from the one we see on the silver screen. From peak fame to personal battles, Shepherd's story is more than just tabloid fodder. It's a saga that questions the very nature of celebrity privacy. Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear is something Cybill Shepherd doesn't want you to know. She had an affair with a married man. Earlier on in her life, Cybill met a man named Peter Bogdanovich. He was a director, producer, and an asset in the Hollywood industry, but somehow the unlikely couple fell in love and had an affair, even when Peter was married with 2 children. But that's not all. According to a Juicy People article from May 1974, Bogdanovich made quite the exit from his previous life with his wife, Patty Platt, and their 2 kids, all in the name of love for Shepherd. At the time of this cinematic love affair, they were living the high life in a lavish Bel Air mansion, the kind dreams are made of. But let's rewind to the awkward beginnings of this Hollywood romance. How exactly did it start? Well, Bogdanovich, in his recollection, paints a vivid picture of their first encounter. Shepherd was perched on the floor, seeming a bit nonchalant. When the director probed about her activities, she casually dropped the bomb that she was in college and had a soft spot for reading. But here's where it gets interesting. Dostoevsky, the heavyweight of Russian literature, was Shepherd's proclaimed favorite author. Yet when Bogdanovich dug deeper and asked which specific book stole her heart, Shepherd stumbled in her response. Red flags, right? But Bogdanovich, ever the perceptive storyteller, sensed a casually destructive quality about her. Despite the enigmatic aura, Shepherd found her way into his film, and their connection started brewing like a Hollywood plot twist. Despite their apparent bliss, the duo waved off any notions of marriage. When he was asked about their relationship and why he's not deciding to marry Cybill, Bogdanovich, with a dash of dismissiveness, said, "That is a chilling thought. Does she look like Mrs. Bogdanovich?" While this came off as an innocent remark, some say it was an indirect insult to Cybill, as it suggested that she was only good enough to be a mistress, never a wife. She couldn't marry right. Cybill Shepherd's journey down the aisle has been a bit of a roller coaster, marked by several marriages that captured the public's attention. Let's take a stroll down the matrimonial memory lane. It all started in a Memphis nightclub where Sybil Shepherd and David Ford's worlds collided in a whirlwind of music and attraction. They were like magnets, drawn together from the get-go. Ford, a guide into the enchanting realm of blues music, sparked a fire in Shepherd's heart for the stage. As their love story unfolded, so did Shepherd's newfound passion for performing. However, every love story has its plot twists. In a candid chat with The Guardian, Shepherd dropped a bombshell, revealing that her bluesy love journey hit a sour note. According to her, Ford Strayed betraying the trust she had invested in their relationship. The couple called it quits in 1982. The reason for their divorce? Well, they cited irreconcilable differences, and as you can imagine, the divorce wasn't a walk in the park for Sybil. Fast forward to the divorce drama, and the dollars started flowing, $15,000 to be precise, landing in Ford's pocket as part of the settlement. Meanwhile, Shepherd clutched the reins of motherhood, securing custody of their daughter. It was a bittersweet finale to a chapter that started with harmonious melodies, but ended on a dissonant chord. In the aftermath, Shepherd didn't hold back in interviews. Speaking to the Washington Post, she painted a vivid picture of her ex, suggesting that Ford lacked seriousness and passion for pretty much everything. It was a tale of love, loss, and a splash of bluesy betrayal that left Shepherd singing a new tune as she ventured into the next chapter of her life. She was in emotional ruin because somewhere in her heart she had thought David was the one, and she once loved him with all of her heart. As a matter of fact, the couple had a child together, a beautiful girl named Clementine. Sybil saw no end to this new misery she had plunged herself into. The end of any marriage is no easy ordeal for anyone, but she later found the courage to open up about the pain and heartbreak, and the reactions she got from the public both soothed and confused her at the same time. On one hand, some sympathized with the star's personal struggles, showing love and support any way they could, but on the other hand, some others gobbled up the gossip columns, spreading as many rumors as they could about why the marriage ended. But even beyond all of these, anyone would think that Sybil's career would suffer. However, the divorce didn't spell doom for her career. If anything, it added a layer of relatability to her public persona, showcasing the real person behind the Hollywood glamour. Although, in the end, some argue that her career seemed to skyrocket and maybe marry, and this time, stay with the person forever. Little did she know that soon enough her wish would come true, or will it? Just about 5 years later, Sybil found love again, and she eventually tied the knot with Bruce Oppenheim, a successful chiropractor. For the first time in a long time, Sybil felt butterflies again and felt what it was like to be loved for who she was. This time, she was sure she had corrected her mistake with her ex-husband and had found the perfect man. Sadly, fate had other plans, as just 3 years later in 1990, the couple got divorced, giving their beautiful one-year-old twins, Ariel and Zachariah, a broken home. Once more, the public got a front-row seat to the ups and downs of a celebrity marriage. This time around, the media buzz was a bit more frenzied, perhaps fueled by the high-profile nature of both parties. The marriage was the second for both Sybil and Bruce, so it got more attention. However, Sybil weathered the storm with resilience. She felt horrible about it, and the fact that she had had 2 husbands in less than a decade bothered her. Some reports say that she began to feel unworthy of love and tried to distract herself with her career. But unfortunately, it was a lot harder this time because Bruce seemed to be more upset about the divorce than she was, and as a result, he appeared to shut her off completely, leaving her to raise their kids alone and balance a thriving career at the same time. When talking about her pain, Sybil said, "I'm hoping that at some point I'll be able to talk to him and he'll be able to get over his anger about the divorce to be able to talk about what's best for the children." The public's opinion this time was less than friendly compared to the last time. The perception of Sybil began to morph into one that painted her as a problematic and difficult woman to love and live with as a result of the multiple divorces she has been through. However, Sybil decided that this time she was not going to jump into another relationship. This time she would take things slow and be absolutely sure before she ever got married again. As a matter of fact, she even began to consider never getting married again. This was her mindset until 9 years later, in the year 1999, love got a hold of her, and this time with a man named Andrei Nikolaevich. The taxi driver sensation hit the world with a love bomb by announcing her engagement to Andrei Nikolaevich, a former jeweler who's now rocking the title of psychologist. In a Broadway-worthy reveal to the New York Daily News, the actress spilled the beans while basking in the limelight of her role in The Best Man. With a twinkle in her eye, she exclaimed, "I'm engaged!" And if that wasn't enough to set the town buzzing, she dropped the interesting twist on her fiancé's impressive career switch. He used to be a jeweler, but he made a transition and became a psychologist. Nikolaevich is clearly a man of diverse talents. In a plot twist no one saw coming, Shepard confessed, "I never thought I'd get married again." But love, as they say, has its own script, and Shepard and Nikolaevich are about to embark on a new chapter of their love story. However, the ghost of her past keeps haunting her through the media, as she married the wrong man twice before and has grown up children to prove it who do not have a present father. It is a mistake she made, and she would sadly pay for the rest of her life. She struggled with weight and body image. In the raw and unfiltered pages of Sybil Disobedience, Sybil Shepard lays bare the intricate trajectory of her life, revealing a landscape marked by personal struggles, the kind that most often remains concealed beneath the glittering surface of the entertainment industry. Weight and body image become focal points in Shepard's narrative, unraveling a deeply personal battle that transcends the superficiality of Hollywood standards. In a culture obsessed with appearances, Shepard confronts the demons that lurk in the shadows of fame. The book becomes a mirror reflecting the harsh scrutiny she faced, the whispers that echoed in the corridors of showbiz, and the relentless pressure to conform to an unrealistic ideal. The chapters on body image don't romanticize the struggle. Instead, Shepard paints a vivid picture of the challenges she faced, of feeling scrutinized and judged, of navigating a world that often measured her worth by external standards. She suffered sexual harassment. A little into her career, Sybil Shepard stepped into the spotlight to share some terrible and difficult news, shedding light on her unsettling encounter with the once mighty studio head, Leslie Moonves. On The Michelle Collins Show, Shepard peeled back the layers of an industry rife with power dynamics and exposed the personal toll it took on her career. The actress disclosed a disturbing incident during a dinner with Moonves, where the conversation took an uncomfortably intimate turn. Moonves, a figure wielding significant influence, allegedly propositioned Shepard for inappropriate intimate relations, revealing intimate details about his personal life in the process. Shepard, the star of her own popular series at the time, recounts Moonves expressing dissatisfaction with his wife and a mistress, leading to the inappropriate suggestion of taking her home. With a steely resolve, Shepard declined the advances and insisted that she would take her own car home when he requested to drop her off. She had her own car parked outside, safeguarded by an off-duty LAPD officer. But little did she know that the director didn't take kindly to her rejection. Shepard's show, which had been riding the waves of popularity, faced an abrupt cancellation. The actress connects the dots, attributing the sudden downfall of her series to her rejection of Moonves' advances. It was then that she voiced out, but her allegation that placed her among a growing chorus of women accusing the studio head of using his power to silence those who rebuffed his advances. She was not alone. Leslie Moonves found himself at the epicenter of a storm, facing allegations of inappropriate misconduct that have reverberated throughout the industry. The cascade of accusations against him has prompted a wider investigation into a potential culture of misconduct at CBS, underscoring the broader implications of such behavior within powerful institutions. She dated Elvis Presley. In a throwback that takes us deep into the annals of Hollywood history, Sybil Shepard, the luminary of the 70s silver screen, peels back the layers of time to reveal a chapter from her past, one intertwined with the king of rock and roll himself, Elvis Presley. She was only a budding actress at the time, catapulted to stardom with breakthrough roles in iconic films like The Last Picture Show and The Heartbreak Kid. At just 22, Cybill Shepherd's star was on the rise, and it caught the attention of none other than the legendary Elvis Presley. When the news reached the king that Cybill was in Memphis, he couldn't resist the opportunity to meet her. Their encounter, steeped in the heady mix of fame and allure, led to a romance that left an indelible mark on Cybill's memories. She's been candid about their liaison, not shying away from the intimate details. In an interview, she dropped a bombshell about having taught Elvis one major thing in the area of intimacy, a revelation that sent shockwaves through the echoes of their past. But also, looking back, she felt embarrassed about telling the world something so personal. Yet, like many tales of passion, theirs was not destined to be an enduring saga. The romance that sparked like wildfire dimmed all too soon, overshadowed by the struggles that haunted the king, prescription drug habits that became a chasm between them. Cybill, despite being captivated by the most beautiful man she had ever seen, found herself on a divergent path, one free from the allure of substances. The bedroom where passion and complications collided became a stage for a fleeting love story. Cybill reminisces about Elvis, a man who would enter the room in moments of vulnerability, leaving behind not just his presence but also tokens of affection, drugs, and dazzling emerald and diamond jewelry. It was a relationship painted with contrasts, where the intensity of beauty and fame clashed with the shadows of personal struggles. Financial insecurity. In the roller coaster ride of life, even Hollywood stars like Cybill Shepherd find themselves navigating stormy financial seas. The late 1990s was a time when the world was dialing up the internet on chunky computers, and Cybill was facing a financial tempest. Money, usually a silent backdrop in the world of fame, took center stage. The whispers of financial challenges grew louder, echoing through the glamorous corridors of Hollywood. It was during this tumultuous period that Cybill Shepherd found herself at a crossroads, a junction where she had to confront the harsh reality of financial turmoil. In a move that many would consider a last resort, she made the difficult decision to file for bankruptcy. This wasn't just a blip on the financial radar, it was a seismic event that shook the foundations of her economic stability. Bankruptcy was a word loaded with stigma, and it became a chapter in Cybill's life story, one that demanded not just financial resilience, but emotional strength. Cybill and Bruce Willis's drama. Let's rewind to the set of Moonlighting in the 80s. A time when the TV screens were graced by the chemistry of Cybill Shepherd and Bruce Willis. Amidst the on-screen banter and detective escapades, there brewed a different kind of drama behind the scenes. Reports surfaced not of the harmonious collaboration we often imagine, but of tension that hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. The working relationship between Cybill Shepherd and her co-star Bruce Willis was far from smooth sailing. It was a tale of on-set discord, a feud that simmered beneath the surface of their on-screen camaraderie. As the cameras rolled, capturing the witty exchanges and crime-solving antics, off-camera whispers spoke of a challenging dynamic. The specifics of the feud remained elusive, confined to the closed doors of the set. Yet the tension became an unspoken undercurrent, a palpable energy that altered the narrative of what viewers witnessed on screen. In the real-world script of Moonlighting, the clash between Shepherd and Willis added an unexpected layer of complexity. It wasn't the seamless partnership often portrayed in the entertainment world. Instead, it was a glimpse into the reality that not all co-star relationships are built on camaraderie. The feud was a narrative that, while not stealing the limelight from the show's success, added a certain tension to the backstage drama. In the end, the reports of the feud became a footnote in the history of Moonlighting, a behind-the-scenes saga that colored the era when Shepherd and Willis shared the small screen. It's a reminder that the magic of television doesn't always translate into a harmonious off-screen partnership, and sometimes the tension backstage becomes its own kind of drama, hidden in the shadows of Hollywood's bright lights. Projects that basically failed. One notable project that faced the scrutiny of public reception was the film Daisy Miller in 1974, directed by Peter Bogdanovich. Despite the cinematic pedigree of both Shepard and Bogdanovich, the film encountered a lukewarm response from critics. The adaptation of Henry James's novel was met with mixed reviews, and while Shepard's performance garnered praise for its charm and grace, the overall reception of the film did not set the box office ablaze. The tepid response to Daisy Miller became a note in Shepard's professional journey. Fast forward to the 90s, and Shepard found herself at the helm of the sitcom Sybil. The show, which ran from 1995 to 1998, showcased Shepard's comedic prowess as she portrayed a struggling actress navigating the challenges of Hollywood. While Sybil had its loyal fan base and earned Shepard a Golden Globe Award, it also faced its share of critical evaluation. Some critics lauded the show for its wit and Shepard's performance, while others found fault with aspects of the storytelling. The nuanced reception of Sybil added complexity to Shepard's television legacy. But that wasn't all. The film Martha, Inc., the story of Martha Stewart in 2003, marked another chapter in Shepard's career. Portraying the iconic business magnate Martha Stewart, Shepard faced the challenge of embodying a larger-than-life figure. The project, however, was met with mixed reviews, with critiques directed toward the portrayal of Stewart and the overall execution of the narrative. The intersection of art and public reception once again played a significant role in shaping the narrative of Shepard's career. These failures and mixed reactions were terrible for her career. In the grand scheme of Hollywood, where every project contributes to the evolving story of an artist, Shepard's journey is no exception. The critical reception of certain works, be it films like Daisy Miller, TV shows like Sybil, or biopics like Martha, Inc., adds layers to the narrative. Failed music career. In the late 70s, Sybil Shepard decided to embark on a parallel journey into the world of music, unveiling a dimension of her artistic prowess that extended beyond the silver screen. The year 1979 marked the release of her musical venture, an album titled Vanilla, a departure from the spotlight of Hollywood to the rhythm and melody of the recording studio. Vanilla was a fusion of Shepard's sultry voice with the musical vibes of the late 70s. The album, a collection of pop and jazz-infused tunes, showcased a different facet of Shepard's artistic expression. Her vocal stylings, characterized by a smooth and evocative quality, added a layer of complexity to her public persona. However, the reception of Vanilla didn't mirror the resounding success of her acting career. While the album displayed Shepard's vocal talent, it failed to make significant waves in the music industry. The critical reception was mixed, with some praising the effort and others finding the foray into music less compelling than her established presence on screen. Despite the commercial and critical challenges, Shepard's venture into music demonstrated her versatility as an artist. The album may not have soared to the top of the charts, but it served as a testament to her willingness to explore different artistic realms. In the aftermath of Vanilla, Shepard continued her primary focus on acting, and her music career took a back seat. The album remains a snapshot in time, capturing a moment when Shepard dared to step into the world of music, bringing her unique voice to a different stage. In hindsight, the music career might not have been a meteoric rise, but it adds a colorful note to the symphony of Shepard's artistic journey. Either way, Sybil Shepard may not have been perfect, but she has definitely left her mark in Hollywood.